Fear has always been a huge part of who we are. From our very earliest artistic expression, mankind has been engaged in the business of scaring each other silly. Right next to our crudely drawn pictures of buffalo on the cave walls of our ancestors, you will find grotesque shape with elongated limbs and shapeless masses no one has ever been able to identify. Scribbles that are still frightening today. Fear has always served an important purpose to humanity, so it's no surprise that we use the internet to creep each other out. The term creepypasta comes from the slang term copypasta, which denotes stories that are copy-pasted across the internet. Creepypasta is passed from a person-to-person via email, message boards, and websites like a campfire stories for a digital age. Here you'll find 30 of most spilling. Well, that's about it.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome, everyone.
And welcome to this wonderful night.
Hey, how's it
I just
going?
threw up. Oh, hey, Bob. Hey. Welcome to the Tales of the Crypt.
But we're not watching Tales from the Crypt, damn it.
All right. So, we're here reading. It's me, Hellfire, joined with my co-host.
Yeah, me. Whatever.
Before
He doesn't have a scary name.
it's Playpro.
Scarepro.
Scarepro.
You know, that Batman villain.
And I am Boo Hood, and I am gathered with the others around the campfire along with...
I am Mephiles at your service.
Please. Okay, yeah, basically we're just going to be reading Creepypastas. We're going to go ahead and let our master scare technician over here start us off. Matt, get us rolling.
Very well. This first tonight's terror tale I like to share with you poor souls out there is the tale I call The Man in the Snow. You are home alone, and you hear on the news about the profile of a murderer who is on the loose. You look out the sliding glass door to your backyard, and you notice a man standing in the snow. He fits the profile of the murderer exactly, and he's smiling at you. You gulp, picking up the phone to your right and dialing 911. You look back to the glass as you press the phone to your ear, and noticing that he is much closer to you now, you then drop the phone in shock. There are no footprints in the snow. It's his reflection.
Le gasp. Dude, I'm shivering in my booties.
And then you died.
The end. Would you like to continue or game over?
I'll keep going.
It was short enough. I think we can hear another.
Yeah,
Sure.
another.
Pretty good start.
Yeah, this one will probably disgust you. You always want to go to the Mexican border? Well, this story here will screw you up a lot, which I call Across the Border. There was a couple from Texas who were planning a weekend trip across the Mexican border for a shopping spree. At the last minute, their babysitter canceled, so they had to bring along their 2-year-old son with them. They'd been across the border for an hour when the baby got free and ran around the corner. The mother tried to find him, but he disappeared. The mother found a police officer who told her to go to the gate and wait. Not really understanding the instructions, she did as she was told. About 45 minutes later, a man approached the border carrying the boy. The mother ran to him, grateful that he has been found. When the man realized it was the boy's mother, he dropped him and ran. The police were waiting for him. The boy was dead. In less than 45 minutes, he was missing. He was cut open, all of his organs removed, and was stuffed with cocaine. The man was going to carry him across the border as he were asleep.
That sounds a little brutal.
Ooh,
Ouch.
nasty.
Nasty indeed. If you're gonna go to the Mexican border with your own child, please always watch your child.
Make sure he's actually dead.
No, you can function on cocaine. All right. So who's up next? Who's got a story for us?
Well, with every good story, there are 10 bad stories. And for every 10 bad stories, there's 100 even shittier stories. People continue to write this crap, and they continue to use their favorite characters for some reason to make them seem scary and something like that. I don't know what their thought process goes beyond that, but they feel like they have some sort of writing prowess, and we get Sonic X-treme, a creepypasta based off the game that was never released. And with that, here's the story of a little boy who just wanted to get away from everyone and then realized that everything in his life has been meaningless because he's been worshipping one character, a video game character, a side character in a Sonic the Hedgehog series. Introducing Sonic X-treme. I'm finally moving to the attic. More privacy from my brother and my annoying parents. We were setting everything up in the dark room as I grabbed a few blue plastic bags and dug around in them, trying to see if there was anything interesting to see. And there it was. Cut to next paragraph. It didn't have an intro or anything. It merely cut to the title screen with the logo of the game and a background of Sonic and Tierra Babuski moving across the screen. If you don't know who Tierra Bubowski is, I don't know either, probably from Sonic X-treme. I pressed start and the game started with the first zone. I was a little confused at the fisheye perspective of the game and I needed a while to get used to it. The game was also very pixelated, like it was unable to load the right textures and the background remained a dark blue. Even when I finished the first zone and went to the next one, it glitched and Sonic fell through the floor. I lost a life. You sure did. I groaned loudly at the glitch, but it didn't happen the next time I entered the stage, so I kept going. I eventually got to the first boss. I was surprised to see old school Amy, Rosie the Rascal. Then a cutscene started, Eggman floating over the stage in his weird hover car, but then the screen suddenly cut to black. I heard a faint static noise as it cut back to the game. Rosie still standing there. She didn't do anything and Eggman was gone. I moved towards her and threw a ring at the cute little polygon model. Ew. Which played a falling back animation. Was I supposed to beat her up? Great, I get to beat up Rosie the Rascal. The model twitched to its idle standing animation. Rosie still didn't move, so I kept throwing rings at her. After the third ring, I noticed red pixels coming from her. They were there before, but there seemed to become more. I threw 2 more rings and Rosie fell over again, reverting to her normal size. Normal size? What? The screen cut to black and I heard a squeaky voice say, "Thank you." What's going on? My thoughts were interrupted by Sonic's sprite appearing in a triumphant pose. He beat up a girl. Good job. I continued to the next zone, but this time the background was more detailed and the level was less glitchy. The background reminded me of Green Hill Zone, only it was like a square background was rotting and the flowers were wilting. The blue background had changed to a bright red, which hurt my eyes a little, but I kept playing, shrugging it off. Guess it was supposed to be after one of Robotnik's attacks or something. I don't know. Eventually I cut to the next boss level. There wasn't any music playing like in the other levels. My smile faded as I realized I was about to fight my favorite Sonic character, Fang the Sniper. If you don't know who Fang the Sniper is, he's some fox who just happened to be in a couple spin-off Sonic games and that's it. He appeared to be frowning. Another cutscene played, only it didn't cut out this time. The camera zoomed in to Fang, who appeared to be talking. He kept talking for a minute or so. There was a distorted voice as he talked. I couldn't make out what he was saying. Growing boring with it. I tried to read his lips to figure out what he was saying. I noticed it looped over and over. A or I, M, O, and Y were the only sounds I can make out. Me. I was once again interrupted as the distorted sound became a clear, slightly scratchy male voice and a little static. His voice moved along with, "I'm sorry." The pitch changed extremely high and low again, but as it looped over and over, I figured out he was saying, "I'm sorry," for no apparent reason. Was he sorry for his crimes? Nah, I always thought Fang was the fearless assassin I looked upon to. Robotnik floated over the stage, a laughing animation playing, but there was no laughing. A light blue beam went down on Fang, increasing his size, which I found senseless. There was no way he'd get bigger in this game. The game finally cut to the actual fight. Fang rose his gun, but it wasn't the cork gun he used to have. It almost looked real. The next thing I was a white line going through Sonic. A few red pixels landing on the floor before Sonic played his death animation. The boss level restarted. I had 2 lives remaining. I jumped over him and used a power ball on him. Fang fell over, shutting his eyes. Very similar to when he gets hurt in Sonic the Fighter / Sonic Championship. And I heard a loud static noise. For a replacement for his voice, Fang appeared to bleed of red pixels more than Rosie did. I kept attacking him even though it hurt me to see my favorite character getting hurt, but I had to beat him and see what happened next. Stop it. I stopped attacking him as the purple weasel approached Sonic. I felt too sick to fight him any longer. He was hurt. To my surprise, he stopped right in front of Sonic, looking at him. I still didn't navigate Sonic and slowly placed my controller down on the table in front of me. I looked at the screen and jumped as I saw him not pay my attention to Sonic anymore. He was staring at the screen. At me. I sighed and closed my eyes, waiting for him to finish Sonic off. I didn't know why I didn't just turn off the game. I don't know either, kid. I stopped and looked at the window as I heard a knock on the glass, but there was nothing. I looked back at the screen and jumped again as I saw Fang standing right in front of the screen, staring right at the screen. Me. I already established this last paragraph. Fang was a really mysterious character. Was he really that much of a scumbag everyone wants him to look like? Or was he just a child, abandoned by everyone, having to steal for his survival? No, I think that's just the author. I couldn't take my eyes off him, but quickly grabbed the controller as I saw him raise his revolver. Sonic attacked him with a final blow. Finally, Fang collapsed one last time, a pool of red pixels around him, and he had his eyes closed. Sonic walked over to Knack and stopped, standing right in front of him as he reverts to his normal size. The screen didn't cut to black, not could I navigate Sonic. It went on for a minute of eerie silence until I found myself yelling, "Get up!" Of course you wouldn't get up. Sonic killed him. I killed him. I grew sick of this game as I stared at the screen. Finally moved on to the next zone, or should I say one simple green platform. I walked around on the massive platform until I found a sprite figure standing there. Of course I approached it. It appeared to be Tiara. You know, Tiara Bubowski. Surprisingly, I approached her automatically and she started to talk in a normal female voice. "You shouldn't toy around with others' lives like this, Sonic. Blood, death. Wasn't Sonic a kid's game? I didn't mean to hurt them. I only wanted to explore the game. Robotnik got the Rings of Order. It's over, Sonic." "Oh, right, I was supposed to collect the Rings of Order. Too bad I wasn't able to in this glitchy game." The game over screen showed up. It looked okay for a second, but the text "Game Over" changed into "The End." Enough! I walked over to the TV and turned the Sega Saturn system off. As I got back up and looked at the screen, "The End" was still there in big letters. Only Sonic and Tiara stood there towards the screen, Fang standing next to them. Stupid glitchy game. I can't sleep tonight.
I'm too cool for school.
This game sucks.
You know, the Rings of Order from the game that he mentioned?
You know,
right?
The game with the genie, right?
No, the one with Fang the Sniper.
Oh,
Apparently.
I love that game.
His favorite.
It's my
I
favorite.
mean,
game.
everybody knows about Tiara Bubowski.
She's the one with the boobs, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we
my
take a little
God.
twist back towards the more actual real life oriented creepypastas? Mephiles, wanna continue on with your shorter stories?
Yeah, that was long.
With pleasure.
It was enjoyable, though. I laughed quite a bit.
Always wonder you having like a new wife you have? Well, this story certainly screwed me up hard when I first experienced it. It's called The New Bride. During a wedding reception of a young couple, the guests decided on a drunken game of hide and seek. It was decided that a groom was it, and he eventually found everyone but his new bride. Eventually the man became furious and decided it wasn't funny anymore and left her there. As weeks went by, he accepted that she had second thoughts and went on with her life. He did the same. A few years later, a cleaning lady dusted off an old trunk in the attic of the building where the reception had taken place. Out of curiosity, she opened it. Inside the trunk was a rotten body of a missing bride, who apparently became locked in the trunk she hid in. Whether she suffocated or starved was unknown, but her face was frozen in a scream, and there was a huge scratches in the inside of the trunk where she had tried to get back to the man she loved.
That one was
Yeah.
actually kind of good.
Sounds like a true story, actually.
Yeah, I would believe it. There's
Yeah,
been worse
stuff like that can happen.
Something like out of Law and Order or something.
Maybe we can get another one in there because these are pretty short. Want to read one more, Meph?
You got it. I just got the most important news here tonight. In this latest story that's called Important News. Who discovered the existence of the dead? Everyone knows the name of Antonia Simone, but the exact circumstances of her discovery are widely varied. In 1992, her younger brother, Ricardo, was injured in a martial arts accident that left him completely paralyzed. He needed a representative to live and could only communicate through eye blinks. She was a computer scientist at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center and decided to create a computer terminal sensitive to the slightest energy source. She was a student of Cryllian photography and strongly believed the body electromagnetic field could affect sensitive electronic equipment. She created a terminal that could not be affected by traditional means, no keyboard, mouse, or other input devices. A veritable black box. Mrs. Simone was devoted to her brother and tried for years to make a computer terminal that would allow her brother to communicate naturally. Distracted over the failure of her terminal, which she thought would free thousands of similar affected people, she killed herself by hanging. When paramedics found her body days later, there was a computer screen where was the message, "What took you guys so long? I got the most important news." Oh boy.
That one actually kind of sounded pretty well written. What a twist.
Ghost story.
Ooga
Shocking.
booga Yeah, shocking. Bob, you got any stories to share?
Yeah, I got a pretty spooky story. It's about some game I haven't played called BioShock Infinite. Apparently, the title of the creepypasta is BioShock Infinite. But anyway, I've gotten very mixed opinions about this game from a wide array of people. So I'm just going to use this story as like a gateway of what I'm really supposed to think about it. So why don't we get started on that and see what this thing's all about?
All right.
Oh boy. So now, don't get me wrong. BioShock Infinite is an amazing game. I had just got the game from my local play-in trade, brand new as well. So there's not an, oh, I got it for free, or off some old guy. Anyways, during the game, you progress through certain areas. I had just made it to the market district, and I was pretty excited. I had just walked into a corner where an African-American couple were sitting. Then some police came over and forced them to play Russian roulette. At this time, the male went first, screamed, then pulled the trigger. The game showed its animation for the head being blown off. Nonetheless, I was creeped out by this. The female picked up the gun and aimed at one of the cops. His partner drew and shot until he knew he was dead, and they walked off. While walking off, one muttered, "Stupid Negroes." I remember being in shock. I knew the game had some racism, yet nothing can prepare you for what I saw there. I continued on, bothered but wanting to finish what I started. I went through the game with nothing else going wrong. Soon after, I remember the couple. I did some research. I found out a similar event had happened to a couple on their anniversary. I tweeted my story to Ken Levine. He denied the couple being in the game and any knowledge to the similarities to the real-life couple. I went back and gathered footage and posted it on YouTube. Many saw it before it was taken down shortly after my account was deleted. My camera shorted out and I lost the footage. Trust me though, you wouldn't want to see it and go through hell. As far as I know, they weren't found in any other person's Let's Play of Infinite. Now, would you kindly let me rest? After all, it's lights out. Warden walks in. Nurse, help! He's having the visions again. Hurry, we're losing him. Breaking news, a crazed man has died of a heart attack late last night. The end.
The first creepypasta to admit that it was actually bullshit strung by a crazy person.
So don't get Bioshock
What is
Infinite. It
this
will
shit?
kill you.
Bioshock Infinite sucks. That is the moral of the story.
The game itself is better than this piece of shit story.
That was pretty funny.
Playing Bioshock Infinite is like playing Russian roulette with your life. You might just end up having a heart attack.
And apparently
How does that
being
work?
black. Apparently it has something to do with black people in video games. Dorko, you've been really quiet. You're too spooky right now. Why don't you give us a
think he got
scary
this
story?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to us? Why don't you talk to us about stories named Super Mario FX Prototype, Dorko?
I don't know how many of those there are like that, but I do have one.
Oh, what a coincidence.
So, Super Mario FX Prototype. This is my story of a prototype that shouldn't be. One day, I was snooping around eBay looking for rare prototypes of games. While looking, I found the supposedly mythical Super Mario FX for the Super Nintendo version of Mario 64. There was always debate whether this game did exist, so I had my doubts, but I still wanted to see what it was because of how cheap it was, which also puzzled me. Why would someone sell such a rare card for so low? But curiosity got me and I bought it. When it came in the mail, I did a video about it for my YouTube series, Tyler Nintendo Tyler Plays segment. The only portion left that wasn't corrupted due to shoddy cameras at the beginning, here it is. This is how the rest of the video went. When I tried to play it, the Super Nintendo would block it out, so I fiddled around with it and finally got it to work. I started with all the legal crap as usual with photos, but then something weird happened. Start screen was black with the basic title, start, and copyright 1991, so I hit the start button. When it started, the game went to a low poly 3D game that barely resembled Mario 64. The characters are barely recognizable and they looked very odd. Mario had no face, as did some of the other characters. I thought this was because it was a very early proto, but then I noticed some things out of place. The Goombas had black, soulless eyes with what appeared to be blood on their heads. Mario had blood in his shoes, pants, and gloves as if he was stomping and ripping apart enemies. The music was high-pitched 8-bit tones that somewhat resembled the Super Mario Bros. Overworld theme. When you would jump, you couldn't do it as high as usual, and if you fell more than what seemed like 15 feet in the game, Mario would make a hyper-realistic crunching noise and double over in pain as if he broke his legs. At this point, I couldn't move as I had to reset. When I did, it wouldn't let me. Then this text appeared. Mario has fallen and broke 8 bones. He died in a hospital due to internal bleeding. I found the part about the broken...
One life lost.
I found the part about the broken bones unsurprising since this game seemed to want to take a realistic approach, but the part about dying from internal bleeding struck with confusion. How could you die with some broken bones? By bleeding internally, that's when the text appeared. A later autopsy revealed that he had instead committed suicide by overdosing on hospital medication, and internal bleeding was a cover-up caused by him first beating himself half to death before ingesting the medication.
By the way, game over.
I was at a loss for words, and right before I unplugged the Super Nintendo, this appeared. His brother Luigi committed suicide a week later by means of hanging inside the main fire of the Mushroom Castle. Immediately after the evil King Bowser opened the Mushroom Kingdom, enslaving the inhabitants. At that last bit, I unplugged the system revolt. How can my beloved Miyamoto mess up my hero like this?
My waifu Miyamoto!
I decided to keep the game on hand, although I refused to play it or take photos of it. Convenient. It is now in the back of my Nintendo collection, so it would not be touched by anyone else.
This was made by my precious Miyamoto for me only.
How dare you make Mario break 8 bones and commit suicide?
Damn it, what the fuck is this shit?
I don't get why people like this. This is shit.
First it was Paper Mario, now it's this!
You've ruined way too many Mario franchises.
My precious Miyamoto. My beloved
Okay, that's a keeper.
That's like the best one. That's like the
And
best
I-
thing I've heard. Wait.
Best
You said there was a
awful
video
pastas.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a video.
Oh my god.
So, Timpton.
Alright, Mephiles, you're gonna have to bring us back into the
The
Scariness
internal realm
of
of
it.
the more well-written light of creepypastas.
Very well then, because this will be my last story.
Maybe it'll give us nightmares. I don't know.
That's the point. Because have you always wondered you had nightmares each night when you were a kid back then? Yeah, that was those days. But one story has a pattern that nightmares itself can exist, and often it can continue like this if you keep having the same exact dream over and over. This story alone is the equivalent of fear, which is I call just a nightmare. You woke in a cold sweat from your dream, looking around the dim room with a fright. You didn't remember anything that happened in it except for a loud bang at the end, but you passed it off as just a nightmare. It had been a reoccurring nightmare you had for the past few days. You slowly arose from your bed, prepping your lunch for the day before heading off to work, stopping at the local store to pick up a little something along the way. As you drove, you reflected your life below now. How your life partner had recently passed away from an unknown cancer at such a young age. How your children have recently graduated from college and now were living on their own with a decent paying job and a date as well. You felt happy and proud of them, but you couldn't help but feel a certain feeling inside. It was like a sickness. It was a feeling of despairing emptiness. You went to a small cobble and started to get to work at a small desk. Your job was a fairly decent one that paid well in this day at the age considering the economy, but it was monotonous. It felt like after a while, all you were doing was pressing the same keys over and over and moving your mouse around to give the commands to a rather outdated personal computer. Click, click. You have been repeating this same task for the past years with no raise or any comfort at home to make things better, realizing that you are all alone now. After a few hours of these miserable process came lunchtime, and you knew what that meant. You quickly got up, bringing your lunchbox along with you as you moved to where everybody else was eating. Stanley, a co-worker and a close friend here, waited for you at the water dispenser. He was wearing his usual work attire, a white shirt over black dress pants, and a small red tie. He greeted you happily as you walked over to him, adjusting his brown glasses. Like Stanley, he was a pleasure to chat with you, at least at first, but the dullness settled in quickly as well. The two of you always ended up talking on the same subject and discussing during each lunch hour. You were afraid to admit it to him, that he was becoming boring, that everything was, in fact, but you were afraid on how he would react to that he just might care too much over to you. You didn't want to shock or surprise him too much. He did, however, speculate that you were becoming increasingly more empty and bitter, but you always assured him that you were fine and stopped pursuing his questions. After a few minutes of worthless congregation, you set off to eat your lunch for the day. It was always the same thing every day, a ham sandwich with a banana. Sometimes you brought a soda, other times it was just a mere water bottle. A few years ago, back when your loved one was still roaming the earth, she would sometimes throw in something else, even if it was just as something as plain and simple as a pickle. You always were in delight over it. It was a break from the same food every day. Nowadays, you didn't have enough time to throw in a little something extra, but you were certain that you had quite a surprise for a day. You consume your sandwich and quickly, without hesitation, with your fruit to follow. Nobody seemed to notice how fast you were eating your food. It was almost too easy, you thought. This is when you usually return to your hubble to get back to your work, but today you had the little extra. From your bag you drew a small handgun you had just picked up from your last paycheck earlier that morning. Nobody noticed it from the few seconds before the woman started to scream and pointed at the sight of the revolver. Some of them begged you to stop, reaching out to you. They were trying to talk you into not to do it. You barked at them, making empty threats that you would shoot anybody that would get within touching distance. You felt bad about it. You were a really nice and a caring person. One of them quickly phoned in the police, saying they were going to get you help. You didn't care. The dullness, the monotony, the emptiness, it all had to end. You look at the crowd standing at the front. He pleaded to you, begging you to consider your thoughts and actions. He offered to help you if you were to listen to him. Without saying a word to him, you opened your mouth and placed the pistol inside of it. You heard the massive scream before your vision faded to black as you pulled the trigger. You awoke in a cold sweat from your dream, looking around the dim room with a fright. You didn't remember anything that happened in it except for a loud bang. At the end, you passed it off as just a nightmare. It's been a recurring nightmare you had for the past few days now. You slowly arose from your bed, prepping your lunch for the day before heading off to work, stopping at a local store to pick up a little something along the way.
Nightmareception.
It's a repeating pattern.
Pretty
It's
good.
like that one movie with Groundhog Day. That's it.
Really?
Except less suicide. A lot less suicide.
Wait, ground?
Well, no, he kind of kills himself at one. Anyway,
Multiple times,
welcome.
actually.
All I can say, welcome to hell, because you'll be stuck in that eternal limbo for the rest of your eternity.
at first I thought it was kind of boring, but that ending really threw me for a loop. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that ending that made it one of my favorites.
By the way, it's cubicle thing.
Oh, sorry, because
No,
sometimes
no,
I
no.
can't. Yeah, forgive me of that mistaken words.
It's cool. It's fine. I'm just saying for future reference. It's fine. I
That was
get
a good
confused.
story, though.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one. But I don't think you guys have heard about Slender Man before. Oh wait, maybe you have. It's kind of
We all have.
He's kind of a hot trend right now, and I mean,
I don't know. It
I
seems
don't
like
know.
another faceless nobody to me.
most people would say that, but some of us have big crushes on him. Okay, some of us want him to take us.
To the woods.
If you know what I mean.
don't see him
I
out there in
mean,
my window.
that's just the story of Fanboy 97.
What?
You want me to share that with you?
Say that again.
Fanboy 97. He really loves Slenderman.
That's his name?
That's his name. Fanboy 97. His journal entry.
Oh, like it's not his actual like internet name or whatever. That's just like this name in the story.
I hope that's his real name.
Like not even to be a fanboy of anything. Like not Sonic Fanboy 97, not Mario or Slenderman.
Just
Fanboy.
Fanboy 97. Don't forget the
Creative.
97. Yes. Now, this is Slender Twilight, the naughty version. What the fuck did I just read? Pretty much everyone. Fanboy 97, journal entry 1, period, parentheses. Oh, how no one understands the dark, brooding angst stirring in my loins. I couldn't concentrate in school again today. The thought of him distracted me from my composition writing class. How could I possibly worry about the fundamental of English grammar stuff stupid when there's a tall, sexy devil stalking the spooky nights? I wish he would stalk me. Square. I know some people would say that I'm just silly pants, that he would devour my soul and drive me to madness, but they don't understand him like I do. I know he would not do this to me. How could he? I'm his biggest fan, winky face. Oh well, I suppose I'll just have to prove them all wrong. Fanboy97, journal entry 2, period, parenthesis. Woe is me! Must I be alone for all eternity? Doomed to wander this cruel world in my misunderstoodness. I spent the entire afternoon in the cemetery after school today, drawing the sacred symbol on each and every tombstone, the circle of darkness with the X of also darkness, awaiting for him to run into my arms. I even wore my outfit, the extra special Sailor Moon miniskirt and thigh-high socks.
Ah!
I must have ridden my tricycle around those gravestones 1,000 times before I ran out of high C. How could he not be enticed by me? Am I not enticing? Of course I am. It must have been those fart faces who showed up and interrupted my unholy ritual. They called me names. Really mean names that cut into my soul like razors. I tried not to cry, but I could not stop myself. If you don't stop, shouldn't make fun of those black forces that dwell within me. I yelled at them before they started throwing bananas at me. Bananas that cut deeper than any black razor of blackness. I rode my tricycle home as fast as I could. On the way, I checked my Vampire Pikachu watch. It was almost 6 o'clock. My mom must have been worried sick. But then I got home and she gave me some spaghetti. Yummy!
What is this shit?
This is the scariest thing!
Fanboy97, journal entry 3. I just took a bubble bath. And now I need to check my emails for the rightful acceptance of my Creepypasta submission. Let's look. Nothing! Anger and other dirty talk. How could it not be posted yet? I submitted it yesterday. How long do I have to wait for the world to see my spectacular greatness? I know that jerky jerk-face administrator's jealous of my uncanny ability to write epic tales of melancholy spookiness. Of course, that's what it is. Nobody could pass up my masterpiece unless they were all intimidated. It was called The Grand Adventures of the Total Badass, and in no way at all homoerotic sparkly vampires. It was so awesome. I guess I'm not going to have to send that jerk. I guess I'm gonna have to send that jerk a bunch of emails outlining why he's such a jerk. Then he'll see. They'll all see. But it's almost 8, and I need to snuggle into bed next to my Jeff the Killer body pillow and let my darky dark mind of darkness take me to the ultimate darkness of dreamland. Fanboy97, journal entry number 4. I woke up from that dream again. I just had to write it down this time. It was the one where I'm lying still in my bed completely naked when the wind blows my bedroom window open, and then that beautiful slender body of his floats in, hovering above me, tempting me with the prospects of sweet, sweaty passion. Come to me, sweet prince, I say to him, as he lowers himself gracefully, his black suit stretching tight across his lovely form. Do you know how long I've been waiting for you? I ask him. He never says a word. Oh, that strong and silent type, aren't you? I whisper into where his ear balls would be.
Ear balls.
Ear balls.
Not ear holes, ear balls.
Ear balls. That's okay, I continue in the most seductive voice I can manage. You don't have to say a thing. I pulled pulled on his necktie, pulling his face closer to mine. Then we started making out, and it was sexy. Then after an hour, I whispered back into his ear balls, "How about you take off that suit and show me what those tentacles can really do?" When I woke up, my sheets were all sticky. Fanboy97, journal entry number 5. Oh my god! Less than 333333333 exclamation points! I don't know how to explain it, but after that hot, sticky dream, I just couldn't go back to sleep. So I kind of just stayed awake and sent 50 complaints to that jerk-face administrator. When I got this sense, a most dangerous, a most arousing sense that I got this feeling that I needed to look out of my window, and when I did, it was him! Slenderman was watching me from across the street. I knew it was him at once. He's impossible to mistake. The tall, thin body, the most fabulous of suits. He was just standing there, motionless, expressionless, beckoning to me. Oh shit! I better get back to the window. He's still out there, and I need to press my bare nipples against the glass to keep him interested. I'll come back later to write how it went. Oh god, I feel as giddy as a schoolgirl at the gynecologists. Gynecologists. The next day, Officer Stenton was standing at the scene of the crime. His partner, Officer Drake, approaches him with a cup of coffee in each hand. "So, what the hell in hootenanny happened here?" asks Drake as he glances over the carnage. Up high in a tree, sectioned off by yellow hazard tape, is the body of a young boy, his torso impaled on one of the many jagged branches. On the ground below him, there were several plastic bags filled with what is assumed to be some of the boy's organs. They included eyes, kidneys, liver, pancreas, gallbladders, and several fingers. Officer Stinton's hands his partner a piece of paper covered in blood. "We found this nailed to the tree," says Stinton to Drake. "I think you know what this means." Drake reads the note, each letter spelled out in crimson. "No means no," Drake reads aloud. "Great googly moogly! Not another one of those sickos! Must have been the 3rd one this year, and it goes to explain why this kid up there is wearing a dress." Officer Stinton looks back up into the tree. The boy is, in fact, still wearing his Sailor Moon outfit. "Yeah," says Stinton. "We're dealing with one of those twisted perverts over here, alright. We checked this kid's journal earlier this morning. It looks like he was getting ready to try and date rape Slenderman." Drake shakes his head in disgust. Sweet zombie Jesus, kids these days, messing around on the interwebs thinking that it couldn't happen to them, then all of a sudden old Slendy gets sick and tired of being sexually harassed. Can anyone blame him for resorting to this? Stinton looks down at his feet and a somber look on his face. No, I don't think anyone really can. We gotta look at it this way, at least for now. We can look comfort knowing that this nightmare is finally over. Just then, the boy in the tree coughs off a splatter of blood. "Why? Why don't you love me?" he chokes out. Without hesitation, Officers Drake and Stinton pull out their sidearms from their holsters, emptying the clips into the whining fanboy. When the dust settles, Stinton looks back at Drake. "Okay, now it's over." Credit to Stephen D. Harris.
I had to throw up about 3 times.
I'm gonna say Slenderman did the right thing, wasting that asshole.
It's a unique story.
And they had to use that Scream movie cliche at the end.
So, all in all, Slenderman's the true victim.
That was the scariest thing
He
I've
was a
read
hero.
today. I don't know if I don't know if you guys agree, but that was pretty frightening.
Yeah!
It was a funny one.
I had a keep from laughing so badly.
For an April Fool's joke, it is the scariest out of all the stories I've heard.
My head hurts. My voice hurts.
Yep. It's an unfortunate reality. There are people
Thank you.
out there.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for this spooky Halloween. What are we gonna call the series? Chax Break? I forgot already. Spooky Break?
Yeah.
Work in progress break. Oh, happy Halloween, everyone. Sleep well. Think of Slenderman.
I
tonight.
won't after that.
And try not to think about other things from the story I told you, people.
I'm sorry.
I
After
agree.
That, just picturing the vampire Pikachu watching Slenderman costume.
Tricycling around in a Sailor Moon costume, though.
And I'm assuming this is a grown man too, so that just makes it even more creepy.
Well, he does need to snuggle with his Jeff the Killer body pillow, so maybe he's not that young.
That's where I lost it.
That's where we lose it. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Happy Halloween.